We haven't talked about Andrew Tate before, but he is a big online figure right now. Andrew Tate, former kickbox champion, 36 years old. He is kind of the new big guy of the manosphere, of a lot of this kind of red pill content that kind of goes around on the internet that you see. He kind of was blown up in the matter of a couple of years. A lot of it has to do with his clips and videos being circulated through TikTok and YouTube and everything like that. TikTok is really huge for him because he's got a lot of these different meme pages that will post nothing but a lot of his content, and that helps, of course, give him a bigger popularity, bigger notoriety. And then, he does tons of interviews, a lot of stuff that gets millions in views. And then he's, known as being this big online figure that says a lot of these outlandish things, it's almost like you couldn't, if you tried to do like a parody of these manosphere guys, alpha male dudes, you couldn't make a bigger parody if it was on something like SNL. It's almost like that big of a caricature that he is. And I think even he knows that he's playing a character, and I think even people that follow him knows that he's playing a character, but they all just buy into it and then, just kind of accept it, and just kind of have fun with it. He kind of got deplatformed. He was banned. He's banned off of, he was first banned on a lot of other social medias like Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, things like that. But then Elon Musk, he reinstated Tate to Twitter recently, and he got into a spat with Greta Thunberg, who is the climate activist, who is 20 right now. I think because her birthday, I think she's still 19 because her birthday's coming up in a little bit. She's 19. And it was kind of a weird kind of thing. It was kind of weird that out of nowhere, he just tagged her talking about how he owned 33 cars and how they have these certain emissions. I'm going to see if I can pull up the tweet right here. Let me see if I can go back to the tweet. But I've seen tons of videos about the guy, how he kind of started. He kind of started, like I said, his father was Air Force. He was retired Air Force. Also was a chess champion. Also, his father was black. So when I actually just realized recently Andrew Tate's half black, which I was like, fuck. I was like, God damn it. I just kind of realized that kind of recently. I was like, damn. But yeah. Unfortunately. So he is half black there. So he did kickboxing for a little bit. Then he quit kickboxing because he wasn't making enough money from that. Then he was like, I think I could find a good way to, it's like, I figured out a great way to make money. And that was basically just to become a pimp. He had like 5 girlfriends. He, he suggested to all 5 of them to do like basically sex work, to be webcam girls. Only 2 of them agreed to do it. Just from those 2 girls, I think he made like $600,000 plus a month. And he took like 80% of the profits. So he was basically a pimp, basically. And he expanded that network from there and kind of just exploited women from there doing that type of stuff. And that's how he kind of really raised his fortune. It's something that he talks about. I mean, he's talked about how he would have, take these women and, have them do sex work like this, webcams and all this other stuff, scam dudes and things like that, who would send all this money and everything like that, kind of exploiting them there. So recently he got into a Twitter spat with Greta Thunberg. Let me see. I pull up this tweet right here. So he says, let me see if I can do it in his voice because he got like a weird accent. Let me see if I can. I could put on my my accent hat today. Hello, Greta. I have 3,000 cars. My Bugatti and a WL 8.0L quad turbo. My 2 Ferrari 812 Competizione have 6.5 V12s. This is just the start. Please provide your email address so I can send a complete list of my car collection and their respective enormous emissions. And then Greta responded with, yes, please do enlighten me. Email me at smalldickenergy@getalife.com, which has quickly become one of the most liked tweets in Twitter history. I think it's in the top 5 right now, I believe. It's at 3.8 million likes. So she eviscerated him. I mean, it was an
She and being jammed, tomahawked, jammed on his ass, and it's exactly what he gets because.
Yeah,
I'm talking to someone that's 19 in that way. Like, let's just get that shit out of the way. Like the amount of tweets I saw from men who are going, "She's 19, she's old enough," or some variation of that. I'm like, y'all, like, can you please stop being gross human beings for half a fucking second? And considering what this guy does too, it's twice as bad that he's tweeting at her. And so his response was hilarious because he said, "How dare you?" And I went, "Dude, you tweeted her first."
Yeah. That's how you knew he didn't really have a good comeback, because it took him 10 hours to reply. Like, he had the first "how dare you," and then he made like a whole big production video response of him in a robe smoking a cigar, you know what I mean, responding to her, and trying to come back at her. Also, his response to the video, nowhere close to ratioing her at all. It had like 200,000 likes, so nowhere close to ratioing her at all here. So she's still kind of, and she ratioed him really again because so when he did this video, people were saying that because he had these pizza boxes, the pizza boxes were a way to tell the authorities that this is what he was in Romania, and then that's how they found that out, and then they picked him up. But as funny as that is, and I want to believe it, that's actually not true. That they already knew he was in Romania already. They've been building a case against the guy for a while, and it just so happened it was like life coincidence that this happened, and then you know what I mean, that this whole stuff happened. It's just kind of like those life coincidences. But it's funny to think that, though. It is funny to go like, because he was dumb enough to do the pizza boxes, and that's how they found him, and they busted through his door and everything like that. But that's not how they actually found out that he was. I mean, they've already been tracking him and building the case against the guy for human trafficking. He got arrested for human trafficking and rape. He got arrested for human trafficking before because there was an incident where there was a woman that was at his place that did report him. But they got out of it. They said that it was her boyfriend, that she was trying to save face in front of him, and then that she falsely accused them of that, and then in order to save face in front of the boyfriend and everything like that, and then it got all cleared up. So this is his second time that he's been arrested. Him and his brother they've been arrested for human trafficking. And you could also say there's a little bit more credence to the story because Andrew Tate has said out of his own mouth the reason that he likes Romania is, one, because he's the top 1% of the society there, that if he could go and visit the prime minister if he wanted to, he could. Two, because that it's incredibly corrupt. He talks about how corrupt the country is, the system there, so he could easily exploit it. Three, how they're not very much, they don't prosecute very much on like sexual assault allegations or anything like that. They don't prosecute that as much in a lot of those kind of like in a country like that. So that's another, like some of the reasons he listed is why Romania was a very like a place that he liked to live. There, so yeah, so
people say, why did you in Romania? And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is the Me Too era. If you're gonna go to the police and say he me back in 1988, they're gonna say we should have done something about it then. They go, oh well, you're a rapist. I say, no, I'm not fucking rapist. But I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free.
That kind of culminated there. So just kind of going around, Hunter, I want to get your a little bit of reaction on what you think about the story. And also what you think about my accent a little bit. I try my best. I don't know. I think I give myself like a 4 or 5. You know what I mean? I try my best.
Yeah, I think a 5's fair. So I'm proud to say I didn't know who this fucker was until about a week ago. Cause look, I mean, I have my targets on on the podcast. I can only make fun of Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and those fuckers at Fox so much. That's my bubble. It's like, bless you. It's like I'll take aim at those fuckers. I had no idea who this guy was, and then I had to do research because I was like, "Who's Andrew Tate?" And then, so I pulled up a couple of his worst quotes, which are horrifying. I'll just read two. If you put yourself in a position to be raped, you must bear some responsibility. Fucking horrifying, Jesus Christ. So there's that one, and then why would you be with a woman who's not a virgin anymore? She's used goods secondhand. Again, Jesus fucking Christ, what a fucking monster. And when I read those quotes, I'm just like, wow, what a piece of shit. I really hope he goes to jail. And honestly, this is exactly what he gets. Like, there's no reason for him to go after Greta anyway. He was just trying to be a misogynistic asshole and show off to his base. And she dumped on his ass. And he waited 10 hours. Was it 10 hours to film that?
I think it was 10
Video?
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like those videos Kevin Spacey's been putting out around the holidays, where you're just like, oh god, why are you doing this? Like, it was such a weird response, and to be in a robe and all that, like a third rate pit bull, it's just like, come on, dude, like what the fuck are you doing? And so I was stoked when I saw he got arrested, because yeah, what a piece of fucking garbage. And again, the people who were saying, oh, she's 19, she's old enough. You're basically saying that she deserved to get what she got because she existed, which I won't even get into the optics of that because I think the statement's enough if you take the second to think about it. This young woman, she's been dunking on Republicans and assholes for a minute, and she's only 19. She's gonna get wittier, she's gonna get smarter, she's gonna get more resources. So should probably just leave her the fuck alone. Like, at the end of the day, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways of this is, he fuck around and found out. And you know what? Good. This is exactly what men like him who are that insecure. When you start talking about the cars you've got, once you start doing that, you've already lost the argument. It's the whole "I make more money than you" excuse. Therefore, my opinion is more valid. So I was really happy to see this. I hope he gets so much time in jail. I really want that. I did listen to Alanis Morissette's "Ironic" in tribute to him. Rest in power, Andrew. But yeah, seriously, fuck this guy. He sucks.
Chris, how much do you know about Andrew Tate?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. My screen froze for some reason, but same as Hunter. I first heard of this guy's name maybe 2 weeks ago. I just knew people didn't like him, and I didn't know why. But as more and more, came out about this guy, it's disgusting. It's horrible. Human trafficking is one of the most darkest concepts that exists in our world. I still can't wrap my head around, abducting human beings and just selling them into, it's, God, I don't know, but I'm glad he got busted. I wish the pizza box story was real, because that'd be really funny if that's how he got caught. But just whenever I hear these stories about trafficking, I always think about Taken, and I'm like, I wish Liam Neeson could find you and just beat the shit out of you. That'd be really great if we could make it like another Taken movie, but like have it based off of this guy, and when he's found, just in his neck or something. Man, this is. I really do hate this. I really I can't stand it. I hope I might mute his name on Twitter, because I'm really tired of like not knowing who this person is and just constantly hearing about him and all the terrible things he does. And now that he's now that he's caught, I hope I never have to hear his name again. But yeah, Andrew Tate and his brother, trash, garbage human beings.
Barbie, I know you said everything you know about this guy's against your will. I want to know if you've been seeing. I mean, all the kind of the hoopla that's been kind of going on Twitter and everything like that, and kind of if you have any thoughts about it.
Off. I thought it was weird that he attacked. It was kind of out of nowhere, but it made it like more disturbing that they started making jokes about him fucking her into submission, and it was like a bunch of guys just like joining in, saying stuff like that. And people were pointing out, like I said, that she's only 19 years old. You were saying, oh, but she's still an adult now. She's an adult now, and it just seemed like people were waiting to make those type of jokes about her, and that was really. And I'm not really surprised about getting arrested for sexual abuse. It had already been like that's why he went to Romania was because he was sex trafficking. And then like seeing some of his videos where he's saying like, oh, I went to Romania because I wanted to flee the Me Too movement. Like that already sounds like somebody that's doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, red flag.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got kind of a lot of red flags, and I mean, I'm gonna also start a little bit people that defended him first from the tweet. That people, it was funny to see people defending him from the tweet because they were going like, well, it really wasn't that funny. Like, no, it was that funny. Trust me, it was that funny. You just mad because it was this dude got owned and you're just mad about it. No, it was that funny. Seeing all these other different like conservative people kind of come out, and if it was some teacher with blue hair and pronouns in their bio, they'd be quick to say that they'd be ready to execute him. This dude's got him arrested twice for human trafficking, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, but let's wait. Like, nah. So that's bullshit right there. And
Yeah.
oh yeah, and then also the people that say it's body shaming or anything like that, like like saying like small dick or something like that. Even though she said it was small dick energy, I mean, I don't even want to get into much of this Discord because it's stupid. It's just like people were speed running to have the worst take, you know what I mean, of the interaction like people do on Twitter. But it was small dick energy, really, not, necessarily like, shaming a penis size or whatever. Just the energy of it, because of how he was acting. And the dude is also like a violent misogynist and everything. And obviously it must have touched him in his core because he made a whole video response to it. He didn't even just regularly quote tweet. He had to make a whole production about it. So that obviously must have touched him in his core. And then, so yeah, I thought that. But Hunter, you were going to say something? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just, look, it's one of those things where I just go, and I'll take the right wing side of this. Like, how many times are we gonna move the fucking goalposts? Like, at some point, can you just be wrong? Like, can we not agree human trafficking is fucking terrible? Like, why do people defend this motherfucker? Like, at some point, like, doesn't just the most basic sense of morality, shouldn't that kick in and go, oh man, this guy is literally trafficking human beings. We probably shouldn't support this guy.
Well, you got to say allegedly. We don't know. I mean, he hasn't been found guilty. You got to say allegedly.
You're right. You're right. Allegedly. You're right. Pardon me. And you know what? Fuck Elon Musk for this shit too. Because it's like, like the people who go, well, what's the big deal? They're stating their opinion. The issue is when you have that many people following you, fair or not, you do have a megaphone. You have access to people who smaller content creators and stuff don't have. So when you're saying bullshit and you're spewing misinformation, it unfortunately does trickle down to people who don't know any better. Because I mean, one of my friends, their kid is like 10. They know who Andrew Tate is because of TikTok, and I was like, oh my fucking god, that's horrifying. Because people are sharing this shit. It's like, well, this 10-year-old's not going to know any better. So thank God for parents on that front. But it's like, that's insane that the reach is that far. So when people go, oh, there's no consequences, it's just sharing your opinion. It's like, no, there are consequences. Because when you're misinformed, you have really shitty opinions. And like this motherfucker. And The people who go like it's just an act. Let's like this guy's on like a fucking shock jock DJ. This motherfucker's going out of his way to make these grotesque statements, and anytime he's challenged on them, he immediately gets aggressive, which I think speaks volumes on that alone. So yeah, what this guy's being accused of, yeah, he's a piece of garbage. He got owned by someone who's clearly more intelligent than him, and all Greta has done is try to go ahead and raise awareness to a problem that's very fucking real. I can say that as someone who lives in Nevada, where someone hits a fucking randomizer on the weather. It seems like every fucking week. We were at 65 degrees and sunny on Thursday. We're at 2 feet of snow now, and still snowing. So, yeah, global warming is a fucking thing, and closing your eyes and going la 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 isn't gonna fucking change that. So, Greta, as a black person, I can say this: you're invited to the cookout. You're awesome, and yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. And it's funny to see, like, some other the side of his defenders is people going like, he predicted that he'd be arrested, like, in another interview. It's like, shocker, the guy who was doing illegal activity predicted that he would one day maybe get arrested for doing that illegal activity. That's a shocker. And his whole thing about, like, they sent the Matrix. He sent a tweet out saying that they sent the Matrix agents after me and everything like that. And also poor Wachowskis, like, you created this iconic movie about, your experience about, being trans, and all of a sudden you got chuds all over the internet who took your idea for, what I mean, for your movie and use it for their shit, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of pour them. But yeah, it's like there. And then, people are so addicted to being contrarians as a sign of intelligence. They think it's a symbol or a sign of intelligence just to be a contrarian, to disagree with, what I mean? Now they just disagree with something that's right in front of their face, and it's just kind of like, that's just like, people are just so stupid that way. Yeah, so, yeah, so we'll see what happens, everything, kind of what's kind of going on, going to keep updated. You people updated with kind of what's going on, but and everything like that. Yeah.
You'll see that in a couple weeks. You'll see that in a couple weeks with Republicans on Martin Luther King Jr. Day going like, "Oh, Martin Luther King, he had a dream, and he would support guns, no matter what, no matter how young." Because that shit happens every goddamn year. There's always an MLK Jr. quote that's taken out of context. So.
Yeah.
Set your watch, kids, because that shit's coming.
So yeah, that was Andrew Tate.